You are tuned into Let Me Relax.
For me, cause there's some hot white out here tonight. Okay, now.
Hey, Alfonso,
Now I gotta say, listen, I have been known to some white girls in my lifetime.
Yeah! Go, Alfonso, go!
Okay, now I have spent my life on some TMZ.
Yes!
And every time you see me in a club, guess who I walk out with?
Who?
A lovely blonde white chick.
They caught you in 4K, bro. What's up, you guys? It's your boy Tyson. We are back today with another episode of Let Me Relax. Thank y'all for still supporting the show. I don't want to call it hiatus, but I know I've been busy in the last few months. Real quick before we get into Alfonso, I just want to give y'all a quick update. I started a new job. I'm also looking at like something that secures my future in the long run. You know, I feel like it's too many black men out here that just don't know what they want to do. And no offense to anybody who is doing it, and maybe you're able to sustain yourself, but I don't want to be 30 and working in a restaurant. Like, I want to be having my own business, or working on at least my own business by then, doing my own stuff, whether it's in music, podcasts, whatever. I want to be a bit more established than that at that point in my life. So I'm just trying to look at all my avenues. I've considered Job Corps. I've considered, plant work, that'll put me in a position where I'm making good hours per week. But with that being said, I'm just looking at all avenues. I've also considered going back to school. So it's a lot going on in my personal. With that being said, I'll try to get better at content. I make no promises. But, and then we also got the pandemic going on. And yeah, that in and of itself has been fun. Yeah. So with that being said, it's just a lot going on. Also, y'all check out my new podcast, Sad Shit, featuring me and my co-host, Jay Sean Johnson, Ass for a Mouth, Funky Breath, Armpits, whatever I feel like calling him in that moment. But go check that out with my boy. We be, just having candid conversations, kind of like Let Me Relax, but we get a little bit more deeper. Get a little bit more passionate too. Sometimes be going at it. You know how Sagittarius, you know how them fire signs can be. Y'all know. So at any rate, we definitely, shoot the shit and have a good time. I actually got to do an episode with him when he gets done what he got going on after this. But I did want to come on here real quickly and talk about this whole Alfonso Ribeiro situation. So for those of you who are not sure who that is the man behind the character Carlton Banks on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So recently, I just played y'all that audio at the beginning. We'll come back to why that is important. But recently he did an interview in the last few, I want to say 3 days ago, it dropped 3 days ago, I want to say. And he spoke candidly about being rejected from the black community. Alfonso Ribeiro, best known for his role as Carlton Banks on the beloved 1990 sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which starred Will Smith, and said 1990s, I'm sorry. Carlton's character is important because he represents a non-stereotypical member of the black community who isn't considered black enough. Ribeiro opened up about being typecast for roles like Carlton and the backlash he receives from being in an interracial marriage. He quotes, "It still happens almost every day, unfortunately," Ribeiro told the Atlanta Black Star about having his blackness challenged. "I am in a mixed relationship and I get things and looks and comments constantly. And I find it very interesting because you see a lot of things on social media where people say things and people have positions and perspectives. And it's not easy to make that choice because you're not at home, in any home. I'm never going to be white and I'm never going to be fully supported in the black house." He opens up more about his relationship with writer Angela Unrich, I believe. "I'm in my own little world with support from almost no one to be in love with someone I've fallen in love with. How does that make sense? It doesn't. We all want to live in a world where everyone is accepted for being loved. Accepted for being and loving and living the way they choose to live. I will support any person that wants to live in a world that they want to live in. I live in a mixed world. I love in a mixed world. I live in a black world, and I love in that world. I feel everyone should be supported. Oh my God. I'm sorry, y'all. It's just, we'll get there. We'll get there. You know, like when like light skinned women talk about colorism, like it's kind of given that. I'm not trying to, and I do think that light skinned women, when it comes to colorism, should be able to have their own, perspectives and all that. But it's just given that same kind of like pull out the violin energy. Let me relax. Okay, that's why we call this podcast that. At any rate, moving on. He added that he's never been invited to the BET Awards despite his contributions to the culture. I laugh at the fact that I am a mainstream television host, been in the game forever, and I could purchase tickets to go to the BET Awards. So it is what it is. I'm not going to purchase the ticket, but at the end of the day, if that's the view they take, then that's the view they take. I can't change their mind. All I can do is live my life and be me and be the best version of me and continue to love everybody equally and let it fall where it falls. And, well, that's about his friendship with Will Smith. He says they're still friends. All right. So that pretty much sums up his article in reference to him addressing us, the black community. So with that being said, I have a few bulletin points that I wanted to break down in relation to this topic. First of all, I do want to say that as some would consider by proxy of voice, I also think colorism plays a role, being that I am a lighter skinned man. And just, I was raised around a lot of women, so my mannerisms are what they are. Now, I will still knock a nigga out. I still fart and burp and shit like the next nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the stuff that I'm into is like music and podcasting and stuff. So, I'm not into like welding and things that are super quote unquote macho or whatever, or wrestling and sports, and you know what I'm saying? So some people may consider me effeminate because of those societal norms and all that. And I take no offense to it. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But I will say that the alternative black, living as an alternative black person, in this community, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's a different experience. It's not all bad. You know what I'm saying? There's some perks. And you do get some stories being an alternative black person. I would definitely put Alfonso Ribeiro in that box. So I'll put that there and I will give him that. Moving on to my next bulletin point though. I want to talk about how he basically typecasted himself. And Chrissy actually talked about this before in a video. I believe it was Chrissy, either Chrissy or Paris Milan. I want to say it was Chrissy though. And she talked about how, her audience is black women, so she stated black women. But I will say, because I speak to black women and black men, be careful upholding yourself as the spokesperson of, or the this of. And I won't say that Alfonso playing Carlton necessarily did that for him, but I can say that back then, you had Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you had Family Matters, and then you had all these hood-ass black movies. And that's not to say there wasn't no in-between, and you didn't have, you know what I'm saying, a bit more variety. But from what I seen, it wasn't much to work with. So I feel like, unfortunately, Alfonso kind of got, you know what I'm saying, put in that Carlton Banks, that goofy black person box, being that role wasn't really seen, at least from what I know, in that time frame. I have, I'm a 90s baby, but I'm a 97 baby. So, I wasn't alive for a lot of it, a lot of that decade. But I've had talks with my mom about, you know what I'm saying, the shows that were around then versus what's around now. And, although I feel like a lot of the older black people have their views about this generation, the media, and the stuff that we're seeing, and some of it is valid. I can also say that back then in the 90s, it wasn't all peaches and cream either. The representation was piss poor. There was a lot of colorism and this, that, and the third. With a lot of the TV shows, movies, and all that stuff. But with that being said, not to dwell off, I want to pull it back in. I feel like Carlton kind of and see, I'm calling him Carlton. I feel like Alfonso kind of ended up typecasting himself in that box. Because it just wasn't a lot of that type of representation around. You know what I'm saying? And I also want to talk about his catalog because I don't think that all black people are a monolith, but I do feel like even when it comes to black people overseas, you know what I'm saying, outside of just black Americans, you know, Nigerians, Americans, like we all have certain similar, you know what I'm saying, things about us. We all have that moment where like somebody walk in looking a hot mess and the only other black person could be beside you. They could be wearing a whole dashiki, they could be wearing Nigerian wear, whatever the situation is. I don't mean to sound culturally insensitive, I'm just saying they could be wearing something from their whole from their, you know what I'm saying, culture. And we both black and we walk in and see somebody looking a hot ass mess, we'll both look at each other and have that black stare. You know what I'm saying? So we still, even though we're all different culture-wise, there's still things that are similar in between black people, diaspora and non-diasporic. So with that being said, my point in saying all that was, I think that Alfonso's career, like, let's see, he had Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We all tuned in for that. America's Funniest Home Videos. I watched it, but I didn't watch it religiously. He was on Dancing with the Stars. I know he won that show. I don't watch that show like that. He was on Silver Spoons. That show was 1982 to 1987. I don't watch that. Catch 21. Don't watch that. I did watch In the House. Unwrapped. Don't watch that. America's Funniest Home Videos, Spider-Man, Extreme Ghostbusters, Spellmageddon, Will Smith, The Jump, Celebrity Duets, Things We Do for Love. I might have watched that. Like, to be honest, like I said, we're not on the monolith, but these are not really like, these are not shows that are catered to our audience specifically as black people. And you can't tell me that BET or any, you know what I'm saying, type of black entertainment, you know, station, or not station, but program hasn't reached out to Alfonso in these 20 plus years and said, hey, we got a job for you. Hey, we got a role for you. You know, you'll be playing the dad. Like, you can't tell me that nobody has reached out to him. I fail to believe that is true. But whether or not it is true, the content that he has been on, the programs that he has been on, the shows that he has been on, this is stuff that not your average black person of today, especially around my age range, has not watched a lot of this stuff. So it also begs the question of, like, it almost comes off like, are we alienating you, or are you not even making the effort to, you know, for us to root for you? Because again, besides, you know, I'll catch a lot of the shows that he was on, the programs, I'll catch episodes of it. I might watch Dancing with the Stars. Like, if my parents are watching it, I might walk by with my food to go upstairs to my room. Well, back when I lived with them. And, you know, I might catch a peek of it, but I don't watch that show faithfully. We haven't watched America's Funniest Home Videos, like sat down and watched it as a family, episode after episode, since I was like 14. Like, there's just not shows that, you know what I'm saying, your average black person, I feel like, is into. So with that being said, moving on from that bulletin point, I want to talk about this good black man archetype, because I feel like Alfonso definitely represents the black man. Not a lot of black men will say, oh, y'all didn't give him a chance. Now he's with a white woman, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, blase, blase. Excuse me. And how a lot of times the good black man is just a cornier, goofier version of the hood booger thug, like really and truly. And we saw this in his fetishization of the white women that he was talking about, that, you know, he said he loves, that he, you know, loves in a mixed world. But you're on stage talking about white pussy, you know what I'm saying? And how you're going home with a lovely white, I think the dude in the background said bitch, I think he said woman, I don't know. Neither here nor there. There's seems to be a bit of fetishization in his, you know what I'm saying, view of white women. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying he doesn't love his wife. You know, they are married with 3 kids. And that's another thing. He said that he gets flack for being in an interracial relationship. I didn't even know the nigga was married, much less that he had 3 kids. So I don't know if this is something, maybe his family, because he did say he gets no love in a black house. Maybe this is an inner situation with his family, and unfortunately we just kind of got the brunt of it, because I'm honestly not seeing where it like I said earlier, it seems like it was less of, oh, we don't fuck with you, and more of, we mutually just didn't really mess with each other like that. Like, again, Alfonso did not make an effort to be on any BET specials, any type of, like, I didn't see any of that in his catalog. I saw shows that are pretty much have a wide demographic. So, and that's not to say black people don't tune into shows that aren't catered to us, but I mean, let's be honest, you know, pandering works. So, yeah, but like I said, the fetishization of it, the good black man, you know what I'm saying, archetype that he has the aesthetic, but as you see, he's no different, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I wasn't surprised when she was white. I mean, I wasn't surprised when I wasn't surprised when I found out he was with a white woman, nor was I surprised when I saw her. She looks like any type of white woman I could pick up at Starbucks. So really and truly, when it comes down to it, he could be with whoever he wants to. Me personally, I would just, if black men are going to do all this shit, go on a stage and embarrass us as men, and embarrass our image. At the very least, you need to be pulling like a Megan Fox. Like, Megan Fox was so pretty that people would just tell her, hey, just sit back and be pretty. Like, you know what I'm saying? She would almost feel like she couldn't speak up as a woman. And that's problematic in and of itself. But, like, you need to be pulling like a Megan Fox. Or, like, you know, not a porn star, but one of the girls that look like well, I don't know about today's porn stars, because today's porn stars look a hot-ass mess. Just injections flopping everywhere. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? If you telling me, oh, you got this badass white bitch, what's her name? Damn. Alexis Texas. Like, you need to be somewhere in that area. And I'm not saying she necessarily got to be stacked, you know, ass and titties. I'm not saying that, but I'm just expecting a little bit more than Sarah down the street who works at Starbucks. But then again, you know, when you have that type of self-hatred or, you know, fetishization going on, anything kind of goes in your choice of partner. Again, if he likes it, I love it. So, I mean, that's my only real critique as far as who he's with. You know, like I said, you on stage talking about loveliest white women, and I could go get a woman that looks just like his wife around the corner. But, hey, like I said, if he likes it, I love it. Excuse me. I also want to break into this next point, the realities of our relationships. Now, me, myself, and I personally, I could care less who chooses to sleep with what. I will say that I am a more tribal black man in my terms of thinking and the way that I see blackness. So yes, when I see a black woman with a white man, depending on what they look like, I might feel some type of way. I'm going to be very honest. With that being said, I'm also not going to harass them. I'm not going to stare at them or throw them ugly faces. I'm going to look and say, oh, okay, well, that's how it worked out for them. I don't know if they're happily and blissfully in love, or if he's beating her ass behind the scenes, or if she's beating his ass behind the scenes. You never know what the dynamic and the situation is. Same goes for a black man and a white woman. It's just not that deep to me. However, like I've mentioned in many videos, tribalism is human nature. Other races, they don't do all that mixing and shit. They don't believe in that. And granted, I will say to an extent, a lot of their beliefs in racial preservation stem from anti-blackness, anti-otherness, however you want to paint it, but anti-blackness. And, like Dominicans say, keeping the race pure, only getting with lighter skinned Dominicans, and Hispanics. So, there's the anti-black side of it, but I don't necessarily 100% disagree with the notion of trying to, you know what I'm saying, keep things in the community, because regardless of how y'all want to subscribe to the one drop rule, which is subscribing to white supremacy, whether or not however you want to see it, if it's not black by two parents, it's not black. Now, if it's like a Tia Mowry situation where she is black and white and her man is black, well, that's 3/4 black, 1/4 white. Yeah, that's them some black kids. But if that's not the admixture, if it ain't at least a 40-60 split, it's mixed. It's mixed, and that's okay to say it's mixed. There are realities, to circle back to what I was saying though, there are realities that come with having interracial unions, especially interracial kids. People are going to fetishize your kids. People are going to hate what you and your partner look like. They're going to love what y'all create though. That's a reality of it. And it may happen, it may not, because your child may also come out looking hella black. Look at Gilbert Arenas' self-hating ass, and look at what him and Laura Govan's anti-black ass created. Some black ass kids. They black as hell. I just know he was pissed off in that delivery room. But nonetheless, to go back to what I was saying, so it doesn't always turn out that you have the, light-skinned beige kids with the green eyes and blue hair. That's not every mixed couple story. But with that being said, there are realities that will come into play when y'all have these interracial unions. And it is abnormal. It is, because like I said, people are tribal. Most people stick with who they look like. Black people are the only ones that, love is love, and doing all this mix and out loud. Some couples may agree with that. Non-black interracial couples, they may agree with that, and they might like your post, but they ain't doing all that shit. They're interracially dating and they're going on about their business, and that's what I would like to see more of. Alfonso, like I said, most people, I don't even think we even knew he was married in the first place, and we don't care. I don't think we care. So as far as, his situation goes, my best advice to him would be, this is your life. You chose this. Everybody's not going to greet you with an open eyes and an open heart, and it's the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? You could have gotten with a black woman and people still would have looked at you sideways for whatever the situation was. Because outside of him being an alternative black person, he also is, like the character Carlton. I really feel like Alfonso, that's him. So I do feel that, to a certain extent, he definitely would have felt slighted from us regardless of him being in an interracial relationship. And he did bring that up too with the whole typecasting thing. But these are things to think about before you embark on stepping outside the community. Black men and black women. These are realities that you may face. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily think in his case we have a problem with him and his white wife. His video was cringe, but I really don't care. I'm not on a, cancel Alfonso Ribeiro strike. It's not like he said anything negative towards black women. And if his, white wife is okay with him fetishizing women that look like her on stage, that's they mixed business. But, I do feel that, there needs to be conversations about this beforehand, because with both parties involved in that union, because this is a reality. Some people are not going to approve of what y'all are. I think that's about all the bulletin points I have. Again, thank y'all for rocking with me and being patient with me. I know I'm not cracking out content every other day. I want to get back to usual scheduling. I don't know when that's going to be. Right now, I'm working on tying up. I'll just go ahead and say it. Revision, the EP remastered. So I got a few bonus tracks on there that didn't make the cut in time when I put the EP out the first time around. I was able to get a studio sound on the tracks and a couple remixes of previous tracks. So I'm excited to get the EP out. I'm ready to get the shit out. And then I am looking at doing a couple singles, couple other projects. I really want to get more into my music. I do enjoy podcasting and YouTube, but music is my first love. So I definitely want to get back in more with the music. And I found a producer, and I've also learned, for any musicians listening, don't put your eggs all in one basket. So don't use just one producer. Use multiples. Find people that you vibe with, though. You know what I'm saying? But use multiples. So with that being said, I'm getting acclimated with this new producer. We're finding my sound, and yeah. So new music definitely on the way soon. Yeah, black people, we was just minding our business and a bird just flew out of the sky. Let me stop. But nah, for real, y'all stay safe out here. Vaccinated, unvaccinated, do you. I ain't judging you. Don't judge me. And stay safe out in these Rona streets. I'm going to catch y'all on the next episode of Let Me Relax. Don't forget to go check out Sad Shit. And hopefully I'm gonna get some YouTube content up for y'all soon. I'm looking at how to rebrand and all this other stuff. But with that being said, again, I love y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with me. I will catch y'all on the next episode. Peace. Hey, you guys, real quick, I wanted to add another bulletin point. Now, I'm not saying this is necessarily what Alfonso feels, but I think sometimes when you're a part of such an iconic show, and then you see, what Will Smith has done. This man has been in the same room as Will Smith, and look where Will Smith is now. And, Will Smith's not the only one whose career took off. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure Alfonso has been in the room with other celebrities as well. And maybe he might be feeling like his career, this is just a guess, he may feel like his career is not where it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So he's addressing the black community. And while some of his, statements may be valid because black men like him, this community is not as supportive of. I will say that. I can honestly say that. Although I feel like some of that statement kind of gets a side eye because there is the element of comedic relief. You know what I'm saying? And I think maybe we'll talk about that a little deeper on another podcast. It's like, to just give an example, like for instance, this community obviously does not support gay people, collectively speaking. Homophobia is definitely a problem within the black community. However, if you're black, gay, and you're funny, you'll kind of get a pass. You know what I'm saying? Because you're more easier to digest, so if you're, always clowning or whatever, you might get a pass. Even if he's gay, he's at least funny. You know what I'm saying? So just, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of broad. We might go a little deeper on that. And I, being the type of man that I present as, I can actually speak to that having some validity. Being an alternative black person, but if you have a certain quirky thing about you, like him with the Carlton dance, you know what I'm saying? And that also, not to get too deep because I want to send y'all off properly. I told y'all peace, so I should be leaving. But I do think maybe also the whole Carlton dance, real quick before I get back to that point, while I was looking up the thumbnail for the cringy ass I Love White Chicks thing, so that way I didn't have to insert the whole video in and have it take that much longer to save. I found out that he did win Dancing with the Stars, but he almost had to quit because of back pain. And then he, at one point, was trying to sue Fortnite because of them using the Carlton dance. You know, they had that, there was that period where Fortnite was getting sued because they were using a lot of popular dances within the black community. But Carlton put his foot in his mouth. I mean, sorry, Alfonso. Because at one point he had said or admitted on camera that he stole the dance from someone else. So he had to drop that lawsuit. So he hasn't, like I said, he hasn't done much. And those are the most recent things that I can find. I already mentioned Dancing with the Stars earlier. But like I said, his career's so spaced out, he may be feeling some type of way because of that. And also, the Carlton dance in and of itself, like, I'll never take away what us seeing that as the black community represented. But it can probably, and probably annoys the shit out of him to do it to this day, because although that is a part of what made his career, it also, just for me, it kind of gives a little shuck and jive vibe. It kind of gives off that a little bit. Especially when I've seen him do, like, on platforms that aren't necessarily for black people. It does give a bit of a performative aspect. I do believe black people should be able to be themselves regardless of if they're in front of white people or not. But that may also be a bit of what he's feeling too. Because I'm not going to lie, for me, I do kind of cringe when I watch it anywhere other than on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I do kind of like get like, maybe just keep that in-house. But, you know, maybe I'm looking too deep into that. Y'all let me know down below what y'all think. I think I'm going to post this whole full podcast instead of doing a partial, since I haven't posted one in a while. So y'all let me know what y'all think down below on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast version, you can always reach out to me on Twitter with your thoughts, and I will let y'all go for real this time. Peace.